A little update on the progress of the boat. So I got my back hatch in. So we're looking at about 30 inches to the front of where the back deck will be. I drilled drainage holes across the back there. My main gutter is in the corner. They notched out these I-beams in the very corner, but I went ahead and drilled another one. That'll be my main rain gutter on each side, and the floor will be sealed up. But those holes, water was always going to accumulate. I decided I did not want any foam of any kind in the boat, so those are opened up, and the idea is we'll move up here to the front bulkhead. There will be just enough, as you can kind of see down through there. I'll be able to have me a removable cover plate, and I might have a removable cover plate in the back to where I can always open it up, rinse them out if they were to get junk in them. But I've learned over the years boats will always accumulate sand and water, so it's best just to be able to clean them out. So this is my front bulkhead. It's an 8 foot, like 1 inch short of 8 foot, because I made sure a piece of plate I wasn't going to run it short. So it's 8 foot cockpit. My console will go butted up against this front bulkhead. My fish box will go in the back for weight distribution. Then I have a big bow box here. Ended up being about a 20.5 to 21 inch opening here. I'll put double hatches, split it down the middle, and run 2 big hatches, and probably a double bow rack. Then I got the front braced. This was the brace welded in for driving down the road, so it will come out once I get this webbed in a little better. It's holding my sides out, so ignore this one. But all this is 2 inch, 1/8 inch thickness. So I've got my right at 6 foot here span tied into my pipe bumper. This will be a gull wing door, opens up this way. This center section will be for the hideaway kicker, and then another gull wing here. Probably about 42 inch lids on them. I could go 4 foot, but I'm trying not to I'm making sure I don't have any flex, so probably around 42 is what I'm thinking. And that gets the front deck done. I kind of have a catwalk mocked up here. It'll have 10 to 12 inch catwalks, so I'm still figuring on that. That's going to be coming up. I've got to get some 1 inch tubing. They'll tie probably all the way down to the floor, just so there's never a question of the catwalk flexing. And I'm thinking about running double doors, probably about a 30 to 32 inch in the front, maybe a smaller one in the back, or maybe the same size in the back, but that way you can feed up to an 8 foot rod in here without any problems. But all my welds burned in pretty well with spool gun, all tied to the bumper. Everything is 1/8 inch short of proud, or flush I should say, so that when I deck this, it will come up and butt up against, and I'll be able to run me one nice bead and buff it down, and it'd be a smooth transition. Because as soon as you get to this point, this gunnel slopes back down, so I'm going to have everything to where it just butts up to it. So everything's 1/8 inch inset, so that once it's skinned, it'll all be flush. Catwalks are going to be a trick, especially with lids in them. They're a little more complicated than I thought, because you don't have a whole lot of play here by the time you add lips for your lids to set on and to make sure everything's sturdy. So, but I do want them, because I don't have rod boxes. I have catwalks on the boat I have now, and they're just catwalks with no storage, and it's just wasted space. So I gotta figure it out, but it's gonna be interesting. But that's a brief update. Finally got some metal in, got to work. This coming weekend I'm gonna start tying all this to the bottom to these I-beams. with 2x2 angle, and tying everything down on these spans. Probably do a middle leg on all these, 2 to 3 legs down the main bulkheads and on the back. And more than likely we'll have a removable back fascia here, because it never fails. All the work you got to do is always in the back of the boat: bilge pumps and wiring and batteries and all that good stuff. So you can see that window that's cut there, that they cut for running my rigging. So that'll run all the way to the front. Most all my wires will run underneath the floor of this thing to the front. My front will, I'll have my main fuse panel and switch gear and all that. But I'm gonna at least have 2 removable sides, if not the whole thing removables, where I can lay down on the floor and crawl up in there to work on anything. So that's a must. I've been thinking on, more than likely I'll weld in, to give this some structure, I'll weld in this chunk down to the floor and then have a removable center section that would be right behind the fish bucket, a bolt-in center section, and then another welded in corner over there to strengthen the sidewalls. That's kind of the thought. Since I'm using 2-inch, I've got plenty of room, you know, to lap a plate over, run a bead, and then have a plate that bolts with a rib nut or through bolt. So, and then, you know, I'll have my hatches, but these boats being that this deep, this is almost 26 inches to the top of this, to the top of the I-beam. It's really hard to reach all the way in the back, because you have to bend over and then go halfway. Half your body's down in here. This is always chewing into your thighs and your legs, so I'm gonna try to figure out a way to be able to go underneath to get to stuff. But back here you can kind of see I'm thinking about doing a removable plate at the very back. Maybe I can push my fuel tank forward and my batteries and stuff just enough to where I can have like a 6-inch panel that I can remove to check and clean out any of these gutters, because I'll be able to wash them from the front back to this here and clean them out if for some reason. I did drill these holes above the webbing of the I-beam, so they're about a 1/4 inch high, and then that one is eating into the web, so it's lower, and then the corner is open all the way to the floor. So normal drainage should not backwash into them, but you know, it inevitably will, and you'll get a fish scale in there. And I drilled them 1.5 inches so I can reach around the back with my finger, you know, and clean out big debris, because my drains are 1.5 inches on each corner. I originally thought about foaming it, but I've had so many horror stories with foam and then it holding water, and this boat's already pretty heavy, being in its 1/4 inch bottom, 3/16 sides. So I don't want to add no more weight or ever have the worry of having to pull the floor. And because I thought at first I was going to rivet in the floor, but with these I-beams, that's going to be a trick because you can't hit the web. So I'm just going to weld in the floor like normal and have 2 removable access panels to see each end of those runs and be able to wash them out. But I'll let y'all know as I progress.